Hearing none. Number 3, approval of agenda.
When I reversed 12.1 and 12.2.
First one.
Yeah, no, I start with Mark, then do James. So it's
Okay. Well,
when you look at the actual report, I start with Mark.
got it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, thank you. Motion to approve the agenda as amended. Mike, I see your hands up. Aaron, your hand is sort up. Any opposed? Agenda is approved. There are no delegations. Chair's report. The article was in the Sioux Star or Sioux Today on the weekend about the library being a den of iniquity and not inequity.
Oh, I missed it.
But in the library.
It was a good article, yeah.
Yeah, it was a great article. I heard from people across the province about how in 1936 the library was a source of illicit activity.
Impropriety.
Okay.
Excellent. Remember.
Yeah, it was a
Oh,
remember
okay,
this.
okay.
Oh,
Obvious.
It was a review.
Well, yeah, but truth is, 1936 we're on the same page. People think we're still up to nefarious activity, right? So, can't say much big news coming out of Focal before the month is out, and really should no comment. Watch the news. Just a regular month. That's it. Good. Motion to receive my report. Jamie.
Yeah.
Mike. Any opposed? Moving on. Number 6, consent agenda. Anyone need anything else? No, there was one thing I know, 6.4.1 policy committee report. That was attendance on it. Point. Need a motion. If there's no one wants anything taken out, I need a motion to approve the consent agenda. Paulo and
Sure.
Kevin. I'll take that as a nod.
Sure, yes.
Thank you. Any opposed to the motion? I just gotta check, make sure you're still listening to me. Any opposed? Motion's passed. The consent agenda is approved. There are no items to move. Moving right along. Information items. Matthew, the story. And it's not rockets.
I don't have much to say, just letting the board know about a couple of things are coming up, and we will be releasing our next newsletter for April, May, June, soon. So if you are interested in library events, to read that. But these two initiatives are partnership programs, so I just wanted to highlight those. So we're working with the city of Sault Ste. Marie to do a story walk for the park. We've done that a few times already. And then we're working with Science North and a brewery to host trivia night. We've taken this one off site, and so that's a free program that's being hosted at the brewery, and it should be fun. People have to bring their own devices though, to stay for this evening, Kahoot, which is online platform.
The part of the experience.
Yeah, I think but it's at the tap room.
7 to 9, April 24th. Any questions for Matthew?
I have one. So the story, the partnership with the city, what does that involve? Are they paying for it? Or
Usually they pay the copyrights and
Oh,
we
okay.
negotiate and get the copyright from the publisher.
And then the story walk boards, if that's the right word, are on city property
Yeah,
in
they-
Clerk Park?
Yes, they had done a grant for the actual stands. So they have stands and it's just putting a new insert in
Oh,
to
okay.
them.
Oh,
and
nice.
But there is a cost.
For the copyright.
for the cop-
Yeah, that's understandable. And do you try to get like a Canadian author, or how do you select the book? That you-
Generally, is that a Barbara Reed one or is that a,
That's a Barbara Reed one. You had Robert Munch one a couple years ago.
yeah, we
Yeah.
often will work with Scholastic because they're really easy to work with, get copyright.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
There was one over here last fall.
Yeah.
Towards the arc. Road.
Yeah, there was a snow one.
wow.
There's, I don't know if that was the Robert Munch.
And sometimes we also have ones during the summer and TD will sponsor the summer reading club and it'll be part of the general.
Oh, fabulous. Wow.
That's a little different and usually you'll see that actually on the library lawn instead of.
Okay. I really like those. I think they're really cute. I go out of my way to read them even though, you know, I don't have a toddler and but I think it's a brilliant idea, so well done.
Like bring his kids down and do a walk. Read,
Absolutely.
and then you can work out yourself down on that.
Yeah, right.
Go
for a run, mother. Yeah, that was a cute idea.
Anybody else?
Can you reuse the ones that you've done before? Like you must have old ones that you've taken down.
Yeah, but we wouldn't still have the copyright.
Oh, you have to get it per use? Oh,
It's
really?
for use.
Oh, God, okay. All right.
We keep the prints though.
You, yes, sure you do.
Aaron's frozen.
Erin, are you okay?
Aaron,
Oh, she's frozen.
hearing nothing on, else on that, we'll move on to number 9, the board development, senior package. And,
Well, the first one is the discussion. We have a board development meeting scheduled for April. And I just want to know what do you want to do for it? Because the last ones we've been using for strategic planning, now that we're past the strategic planning process, how should we be utilizing?
I have an idea.
Yeah.
What about that, Volt thing that Sean Meetings did from Nordic? Could we get them to come in and talk about that? Because that's on our strategic. I don't know where it is in the timeline, but it's
Is that the value of
value.
libraries?
Yeah, I don't know what it stands for, but it. I actually did the training with OLS North a couple months ago, well, in December probably. So, you know, we could talk about the toolkit and talk about Volt and if Sean were here, he could give it more context. If he's available, I don't know how busy he is.
would you like for education? Want a review of any of our policies? Of libraries, any thoughts?
Is there anything to do with accessibility that we need to learn? Like reporting or risk or any of that? I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. We have an accessibility plan and then there's annual reports that come out of that. I wondered if you looked at the strategic plan, whether there's something to jump out at you.
I'd have to think about it.
In terms of training?
Projects that were, maybe the board should be working on, governance.
Nothing jumps out to mind right now, besides the value of public libraries and also discussing the accreditation.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, those two together would be a huge chunk of time.
I'm not sure if you want to do them both together, but
Well, they're
one
kind
of
of related. I mean, key performance indicators in general would be.
them, guys.
Would OLS North provide, or OLS provide a speaker, or do you have to pay them to do that?
I could ask them, but it will probably depend on what the topic is.
Yes, absolutely. Like they might have a suggestion. They might know what a topics are they're being asked to present on.
I could ask them if they have presentations and send out a poll, see what presentations you would be interested in.
So meeting length, most an hour and a half. Or so. So it doesn't get heavy. Let me think about as well and see if we'll come up with ideas. And then we'll put to the rest of the two. Do something next year. Get ahead of this, do some planning, send it to. Anything is good. I'd like to know more of New York. That'll be a tour. Why don't we do North Branch meeting?
Oh, that'd be fun.
That will depend on when I schedule the archive technician then. It's scheduled, already published. But if we can't do it this training session, we can do it in the fall training session. I can have staff come and talk about the various services.
Yeah.
Like we could go over the archives and I could have a presentation, visit the library service. I could also, I'll check with see if he's able to. Like I said, his schedule is published, so he's working.
Anybody else? What would like to know more about? Or get educated about? Well, let's leave it open a little bit. And if you have an idea, send it in next couple of days. Okay, because by Friday we will have instead of to the end of the week to the closest off. Whereas
Each holiday week.
so by Thursday,
Oh, it's Easter.
that works. But if you have something you'd like to see on the agenda for that meeting, and we're wide open here, so.
But it's a regular hour and a half meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah. You need 4 hours to work through that list that I just gave you.
We're not getting our degree, we're just getting an overview. You know, so the board is aware of its responsibilities.
I could find the deck of slides that I downloaded for the Vault presentation that OLS
Doesn't get the
did.
whole hour.
And then you could pull slides out of that, maybe.
I can contact the OLS. They have a lot of learning HQ stuff.
Yeah, I mean, they've done presentations on the Fibers Act.
Yeah.
In the past, if that's of interest.
Any interest in a refresher on the Public Libraries Act?
No.
No. Okay. Just asking.
Yeah. I'd be a little dry sometimes.
Well, and that's what I don't get anything workers. So.
Yeah, it would be good to be able to plan for the fall as well, so
Oh, yeah.
if we take that into consideration.
So it's not.
Yeah.
Fair. Good. 9.2 is the board self-evaluation, and it's in your package. And I'm gonna start the conversation off. I looked at the results and overall, I think it's pretty good, pretty satisfactory. I don't know how you must say it. It's, the board is doing it, it feels comfortable for the most part and, feels like they're doing their job, what I'm seeing. I had a problem with, my biggest issue has been, people being able to make meetings. And what does that look like if you're, like, we all, I've said this before, this board is a very professional board, has a lot of other commitments. And you're not always able to make meetings, but you still bring a lot to the table when you're here. So I can appreciate that. You know, that's the way it is. That's like, but the first two questions, it says I rarely miss a meeting. And I think there may be some, that's open to interpretation. What does that mean? Like if you miss a committee meeting, you miss a board meeting, at what point do you say, I'm not fulfilling my obligation? Right? And that's one I struggle with as I work with the board is still do this. This isn't a paying job, so how can you fulfill your commitment if you can't make it understandable? And I don't want to lose anyone necessarily because of that, because you bring value to this table. So it's between a rock and a hard place. But I found the question kind of vague because it rarely means different things.
Would you like to have more defined questions?
How would you break that? How would you change that? I don't know.
You have to say,
Like-
go by an amount, like I
Like,
missed.
do you want to report
Two or
card? Do you
three.
want to know how many meetings you missed?
I'd rather not give you a report
Exactly.
card.
Me too. I don't want to go there either because it is volunteer. And you're doing the best you can. And like you got kids, you got jobs, you got commitments, you have a life. So appreciate that. Like I said, I appreciate the value that everyone brings to this table. That's it. But I just found that question awkward because rarely means benefits. I don't know how to redefine that. Maybe it would be better to say just is attendance or find attendance an issue in terms of fulfilling my obligations to the board? That worked out.
You could do a scale where it's like, I always attend, I often, sometimes attend to do something like that. And then you have a whole range instead of a yes, no question.
Yeah.
This is taken from the 2022 version of it, which was done with the previous board.
Mhm.
So it will be familiar to some of you and not to others.
No.
We opted not to do it last year because the board was brand new and we were only together for about 2 months, so there wasn't enough time to evaluate. Like I said, it's just kind of a copy and paste from the previous evaluation, and I am open to changing the question.
Well, I guess you could even look at the question itself, like what are we trying to learn from answering that question? Like, is it difficult or is it easy for someone, right? To attend meetings, I would think, that's what kind of looking gauge, like I find, because there's a comment here, right? Like there's 3 or 4 meetings a month.
Yep.
So I'm wondering if it should not be just about how that you rarely miss, it's like, or do you find it easy to, or something like that, you know, like what are we trying to learn from the answer?
Exactly. And that's why, like, the whole board completed the questions and 100% said that they rarely missed meetings. So is it then maybe it's not a problem, maybe it's all me that's a problem. You know what I mean? Does that impact the board? Myself, I would say anytime you miss a meeting, I don't know, it impacts the board because the work gets spread over less people. But I'm not trying to lay a guilt trip on anybody because, like I said, you know, like it's what you bring to this table when you're here. It's harder to do when you're not. And so, in a sense, I'm satisfied with the answer that most people everyone feels that they're attending as many meetings as possible, so why do I change?
It's subjective, right, so,
Right, and it is a self-evaluation. Feel that I rarely miss a meeting, okay,
yeah, yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
how much depth do I can go? I don't wanna do all the talking here.
And the comments in here, there's a few comments, those are from, if someone left a comment?
Yeah.
Okay,
I've put all the comments in,
Okay.
and I have no idea if one person was a little bit more chatty than the others, because it's anonymous, so
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know who commented
okay,
what.
yeah, yeah,
So one person may have commented on the entire survey once,
Oh,
and have
okay,
a bunch of people doing that. Or it could have been one person who decided to comment
okay.
a lot, so.
And the comment sums it up. I think,
Mhm.
we all try to make 3 or 4 meetings a month. You got paying jobs, you got families, you got other commitments. Life happens, and that was nicely said.
Yeah. And we have the Zoom option, so,
It was help.
That's huge, that helps a lot.
It was help. Anyway, move on. The second, the one down below, I prepared for all meetings. And the comment again tells the story. Sometimes I don't have time to meet with you all prior to the meeting. I'm trying to schedule more personal time to it.
Mhm.
Appreciate that honesty, because it tells you that you're trying to honor your commitment, but and it is personal choice. You're appointed as a volunteer by the city to do the best you can for the library. And as long as you feel that you are, I'm not, who am I to criticize that? You never go to. So, unless you have something else to say, I'll just keep going. I have an obligation, I understand I have an obligation to act in best interest of the library at all times, 100%. Awesome. I freely offer my opinions during my deliberations as chair. I think I'm pushing to, not this came months before I try to push the agenda through. Sometimes me not hear all the comments that from around the table, but I do try to make sure everybody's heard. And that tells me that everyone feels that they can say what they need to say at this table. I welcome and consider the opinions and perspective of others. So the comment is again, conversations sometimes indicate that some have not prepared for the meeting. It's getting better. So again, you're busy lives. So, but again, that's the majority, 90%, I guess, 89% feel that we're open and welcome board. And I choose to focus on that. I think it's a good thing. I missed one. I skipped a days. Okay, I read all documents and reports prior to voting on issues. That one was made me a little nervous, but it did, again, it's most of the time. So overall, yeah, we're still it's difficult sometimes to even get the reading done. Most of the board is able to come to this table prepared. That's what that tells me, and vote accordingly. And we're not too often we get into really dicey areas, maybe enclosed more often. I respect and support all board decisions 100%. I use my individual abilities and skills to enhance the board's overall performance. That's why we represent the community and been appointed by the city to bring that diverse background to this table. So, I do not attempt to exert individual authority over the CEO. Matthew and I have talked about his relationship with the board, and it's appropriate. What's in those boundaries, and have those discussions. And he feels comfortable in dealing with individual board members and issues that come up, but he doesn't feel like he's being pressured by anyone, including me. I don't think any individual board member to perform a certain way or to act without board authority. we act as a group, we have one. One will be in, I think that's what Matthews feels. That comment tells me that the board agrees. Do not attempt to represent the board without being authorized to do so. 100%. And that's good because we can't be divided when we leave the room sometimes. I respect the confidential nature of the items discussed at camera. I have no complaints and no issues because I agree with that 100%. Let's go on. I understand the requirements of Public Libraries Act 100%. That's why I went down about bringing it back. I think you know what your obligations are. Comment. I'm learning. So am I. Somebody asked me how long I've been in the library board. I think it's around 10 years. All right. So, and I'm still learning. So it takes a lot. It takes a bit. I support the chair in promoting effective meetings. 100%. A clear understanding of my role. 100%. Those are awesome. Careful to focus on board issues and leave the running of the library. I'm able to provide feedback and discussions and construction. That's pretty impressive. The board is grown and is functioning as a team, supporting Matthew in his work and sees itself as cohesive group. I believe that I'm seen as a strong advocate of the best possible library service. 88%. I don't understand the comment because I've been told I'm not. I don't really know how to interpret that. That's
Maybe the person can speak to you.
I was wondering if it had to do with not like the advocate meaning not, it's not really what an advocate is, but maybe it was interpreted as being a voice. So if the media contacted you or something like that, then
Yeah,
that's maybe it was interpreted that way.
could very well have been.
okay. But,
Aaron had a comment there too. I don't know if you saw. That was-
Aaron wrote, I don't think you can expect 100% attendance. Life happens. The question might be better. Is there a better time to meet?
Yeah, I thought about that too, whether that came up in the comment that the time of day is the wrong time.
4:30.
4:30,
The time?
like for people who work, that 5 o'clock might be better, the first start time. I'm just.
Put that on the agenda for board development.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good
Okay,
idea.
and we'll have a discussion there. Thanks, Aaron. When I first came on the board, meetings were at 7:30 at night.
Oh,
Yeah, I
yeah,
was wondering if it makes
I don't know, but
7:30, oh,
That's
I mean,
almost past my bedtime.
at that time, people want to go home, eat, and
and then yeah.
Oh, I see.
have to consider not doing any staff with that.
Right.
All day.
That's true.
Yeah, I suppose.
Anyway, let's do this, if there's a better time, if it's 5 or whatever, we have to do that at the work. Okay,
Hmm.
and see if we can find anything more appropriate. I'm confident in the library's mission. I support the library in variety of ways. I'm not sure that, but overall positive response. Comments, members of Friends and Active Volunteers, chair newsletter. Chair positive library initiative, 2 other boards up one. But they to take on additional work. Second paragraph, return attend meetings regularly, potential donations. Identify library services, resources. Yeah, that's a good one. You can talk it up. Tell them what a great job Matthew and your staff are doing.
Absolutely.
Whenever we have the opportunity. I use the library, follow them on social media and share their stories and events. I haven't been able to attend any events to date. It's been tough. Again, And then again, that brings us back to where we started this conversation. You're all valued at this table and you all bring perspective to this table from your background, so. Do the best you can when you can, and Aaron said, like Aaron, written, 100% attendance is difficult. It's also a life stage. If you got little kids, it's easy for me, right? I got grandchildren. I can come and go whenever I want. But if you're raising children, that should be your first priority. Yours too. Matthew and I have had this conversation about his involvement in the library and protecting the sanctity of his own family and looking after his family. We're not asking him to sacrifice his life, right? But and that's like we want you to be balanced, not really focused on the sport. So anyway, I think that was one more. I understand the library's financial issues and implications. 100%. That's awesome. We must be doing something right because everyone understands where we are with the money. Not to the penny, but has a good overview of the financial situation that affects the library, where funding comes from, and where it's going to. So, yeah, I've talked enough. Anybody else want to jump in on the survey? I'm open to comments. Anybody want to say anything besides Jamie?
We had two surveys, didn't we? One, the self-evaluation, and then what's the second?
The second one is a general board evaluation, so this
Okay,
was self-reflection, and the next one would be reflection on the board as a whole.
so that's like
instead of
6
yourself
months
as a
from
board.
now, will we do that?
That'll be done in September, I believe.
Okay,
And we use the Dalhousie tool.
okay.
It's a good, I think it's a good report on how each of us at this table sees what we're doing, and the role we're doing, and that we're contributing something. And overall, that's 90 to 100% where this board is. I think the board has grown tremendously in terms of knowledge and understanding of the work. Made my life pretty easy as chair to get these meetings done and becoming efficient doing it. I'm happy. Anybody on screen want to say anything? Aaron, you want to type anything?
Poor Aaron. Oh.
Good to look at it the other way. What would it look like if we were a dysfunctional board? What the answers would be to those questions. Thanks, Aaron. I see your comment.
I'm good.
And
Yeah,
it doesn't go down that way. Overall, I think we've had a few issues, but the board has worked well together. So,
mhm.
so there's nothing else.
I have a motion to accept.
You will get one. Motion to accept the board self-evaluation. Aaron, thank you. Aaron moves. In a second, Mike. Are you opposed to the motion? Hearing none. The motion is approved. New policies number 10, there are none. Early close for signature event. It's in your package. You want to address this?
Yeah, sure. We've done it once before, at the North Vancouver. They closed early for the evening for a signature event, and we're asking to do that again. This has been, I think it's been the Brian Tremblay one. Part of the issue is we ordinarily would hold it up in the quiet study area of the Centennial Library, but due to all the books being in that location with the asbestos project, that space is not available, so we use non-directed space.
Questions? Or ask for a motion?
Just have a comment. I understand like it's supposed to be held here and in the space while the library stayed open. want to get in the habit of closing library for signature events. I'm sure there's not a ton, but just wanted to kind of throw that out there.
This is the second one, but it's something that we prefer not to get into the habit of if we can help it. It's one signature events otherwise.
My question is, I'm just trying to get my head around, what's it look like? So you're gonna close at 5? And then reopen at 6:30 or 6?
With somebody at the door, and it's a ticketed event.
Okay,
So somebody will be checking tickets as people come in. And the main area in front of the library will be set up for a concert.
oh, nice.
So you couldn't do that in
Where
one
do we
of
get
the
a ticket?
meeting rooms?
Is that?
Where do we get a ticket?
Yeah.
Circulation desk when they're
Okay.
available for sale. This isn't happening until May.
Okay. You'll notify the board, yes.
Sure.
Yeah, what about down here in one of these rooms, right? In the,
Mhm.
could be.
The North Branch is so much nicer.
It is, yeah, it'd be nice, sure.
Yeah, so then, like, why, this couldn't be in one of the meeting rooms up there because there's, the
Yes.
audience is too big?
The audience. That's the
Okay,
problem.
because you've done events here where when the library was closed, you have,
We've done smaller.
you've had events in the story room.
Yeah, we've had smaller ones. I think this is planning for a larger crowd than what can be
Oh,
accommodated.
okay,
in one.
really? Good luck.
And then I believe there'll probably be a bar there as well.
So you need
Okay,
to
thank
set up online, right? You need that hour, that work.
Yeah, well, we want to make sure the building is clear of patrons before we bring the people of age to be there and yeah. we have to set up.
Any other questions? I have a motion in front of me. Be resolved, Sault Ste. Marie Public Library to approve the early closure of the North Branch on May 16th at 5, so that the branch may be reopened later that evening for a ticketed signature event. I need a mover.
Question, comment again. Will there be, I'm guessing there'll be advance notice given, posters on the door, social media, that'll be closed, okay.
Yes, we'll notify the public about the change in original hours.
Go ahead.
I need a mover. Lisa. Second. Jamie. Any opposed to the motion? Motion's passed. Number 12. Operational hours. Nothing.
I'm gonna just start with the North Branch, because that's the easy part. So last year, ideally we would like keep the branch open at least a little bit on weekends. And last year we didn't because we were having difficulties with scheduling the use of hours for North Branch. Now that we've rectified some of the issues with that, we should have plenty of hours to operate sometime on Sundays. So we have a recommendation here in front of you that this summer we do keep the North Branch open at least for a little bit, starting at 10 a.m. and closing at 1 p.m. So that we do have some summer homes.
You don't have the report in front of you. Any questions from Matthew about this?
So what are the hours on Saturday at this branch? Are they the same?
Yeah, no, at this location it's gonna be about 5.
9 to 5? Oh, and this is 10 to 1. So you couldn't do North Branch from 9 to 5? Or 10 to 5 or?
It's possible, but at a greater expense.
Oh, yeah, no, I know.
I think bottom line here, if I can interpret some of this, they don't have enough data at this point to give us give the board a clear picture of what might work or what is currently happening. Like I looked at the problem with people coming, the hourly door count thing. And I thought, well, eliminate the outliers and divide by 2 It's still guesswork,
No, it's so, yeah,
you know, and and
they're coming into the bathroom, not because there's a library there.
so the bottom line, they get to the end of the report, they're recommending, they're asking that they give us more time, before we make a decision on, gather more data. Like it says, for 1 year out of COVID, it's still changing.
Mhm.
So that's more for the second part, but this first part with the North Branch. Ideally, in the past, before COVID, we did operate Core Branch, Churchill Branch on weekends. And so, because we have the hours, we want to kind of return to that. But in terms of the general operational hours, say reducing evenings or expanding weekends or summer hours, you're right, we don't have much data for that, and I'd like to take a little bit more time to think about data collection, because just taking into account can be problematic
So is this a summer hour suggestion
for the North.
for the North Branch?
Last year we were closed, and we were also
Yeah.
closed previously because of COVID.
Oh, I know.
I
I
have
remember
zero.
So will there be data collected between 10 and 1
We
at the
can
North
collect
Branch? And will there be programming going on, like story hours or anything?
That's something I still have to talk with the staff about, but that would be a time that would offer story times
And you're not looking at
Activate the
Sunday
space.
hours, you're just looking at Saturday hours?
for now.
for
Now,
for the
it's
summer.
up to debate to the board. The board wants to say, okay, 4 hours, but we want it in the afternoon instead of the morning, then that's this was a recommendation.
Yes, well, conditional on programming happening during that time, whether, if you have programming, it's gonna draw people in. So whether you're having the programming at 11 or 2 o'clock, it's still part of the package. Or did they had a scavenger hunt or something today, didn't they? I was up in North Branch today.
It was quite possible.
Yeah. But yeah, in terms of toddlers and whatnot, and school age kids, that might be a good time.
So there's a recommended motion for 12.1 referring to the North Branch. It resolves the Amory Public Library Board move the North Branch. You open Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. during summer hours, which is July, August.
It starts June 17th, and then it's after.
So we can put the motion on the table if someone would like to move it. Lisa, second. Mike? Any debate on the motion? I think it's hard, I'm struggling because I don't know. And I don't think you know, that's.
We don't have any real history for it,
No.
for the North Branch, because it opened 2019, and then we got hit with COVID. Issues with hours, in 2023, so.
So I think it's a good place for the board to support. It's fine.
So maybe security at the library, is that on a Saturday at the North Branch?
No,
No,
it's currently not.
and you've got a budget to cover those hours?
We have enough part-time and full-time hours to cover those hours. during the
Okay.
summer.
Excellent.
Any other comments, questions?
I just see it as an opportunity to provide additional hours where we're not
Mhm.
historically, and it's not a lot of hours. It's 3 hours, so it's not gonna, I'm going by math, it's not gonna break the bank, but it's an opportunity to see what the interest is.
The board had expressed interest in experimenting a little bit with summer hours too, so it's a bit of a mid-ground there in terms of experimenting with our shops.
Comment to call a question. Anyone opposed to the motion as read, open Saturday from 10 to 1, somewhere else. Once. I just want to share Karen's comment. We need to try something see where the need is, 10 to 1 may not be the right time. Again, but
But
it's,
it's a
it's
start.
start together, excellent comment there.
Mhm.
You know, that's where we're at, we're kind of in the dark here, so. and like I
Well,
said this as well,
The
let's try.
problem with gathering data is that it's a self-fulfilling outcome because you're only measuring what you've already done, you're not measuring what potential is.
Yeah, that's why you might wanna get into survey as well.
Survey for this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Over a longer period of
Uh,
time, yeah.
And.
Not before the 17th of June.
No.
Oh, come
No.
on, Matthew.
And then, so I do have to look at how to gather data. And that may include surveying, and then, I'd like to know what an average visit at the library is, and see what that is, there might be just doing lit search on that. And then seeing, surveying our own,
Yeah,
public to see how long people are in the library, because it's hard to say.
yeah, that's a time, what do I call it? Yeah, interesting idea.
So just one thing.
I was-
A report comes back to the board in the fall, at some point on. How this worked out.
Yeah, I can give you, like, a usage report.
So my original, when this all came up like months ago, I don't even know when, and I,
Jim,
Challenge
you're
it.
talking 12 people.
well, I'm still talking about this, the Centennial Library Hour.
Yeah.
Like, I still have a concern that there's winter hours and summer hours and they're different. Like, what would the impact be of having the winter hours all year round? You know, weekends and Saturday, Sundays and,
We can't afford it to expand the summer hours to meet what the winter hours are. We just don't have the
No.
money to do that. So what would have to happen is we have to reduce some winter hours in order to expand the summer hours, and we were looking at it, and what we've come to a conclusion is one winter hour was approximately 3 summer hours. So based on, there's 3/4 of the year as winter hours, 1/4 of the year is summer,
oh, it's 1/4. Oh, okay.
right?
Oh, that's interesting.
So that it's an approximate value,
That's
so.
interesting.
So
That's
if
really
for every 1 hour I cut out for the weekend
Oh.
schedule in
In the
winter,
winter.
I can add 3 hours for summer.
Oh my God, that's huge. I had never looked at it that way.
So
Wow,
it is something that we have been looking at,
okay.
but it's,
So like if you cut out like from 9 to 10 in the winter,
it also depends where we cut it, because it has to be cut in an area where we'll be reducing part-time hours or shifting full-time, so that. So opening
oh, it
later in the morning doesn't,
doesn't affect the part-time people.
not usually.
Oh,
It's
that's
usually,
interesting too.
so
Okay.
it's usually evenings and weekends where those cuts would have savings. Is that?
I like our hours where they are during regular winter season. See them.
Well, it also ties into the community hub idea that like we're a cooling station and a warming station and a, you know, a drop-in place. And but change that need is still there in the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cooling this as much as warming. So, like I said, I gave an explanation of why it's a problematic, not to say that the data wouldn't work for hourly usage, it's just may not give you an actual accurate reflection of the use, so I think we need to look at more than just door counts every hour. When we do our door count, daily door counts, we do, we take the whole number and we divide it into 2,
mhm,
in and out.
I know.
That's what our assumption is for every person that comes in, we eventually.
Yeah, yeah.
We at least hope so. And so we feel confident with our dailies because of that, but we can't do the same.
You can't be sure of the date, yeah, the time, exactly.
Okay,
Unless you were running, yeah, no, okay.
so I still have a motion on the table. The vote no French. Any opposed to that motion? No, we didn't.
No, we didn't.
And the motion was passed. So going to 12.2, dealing strictly about centennial. And the information provided, there's no motion, but the
Recommendation.
recommendation. So I guess it comes down to, are we supporting the recommendation? The board not adjust its additional hours, etc. You can read yourself. Until a better report can be prepared, that or the others come. So if you support that, or if you don't support that, the recommendation is that, now's your chance. There you go. Without a motion. So doors open here.
So when you say staff would like to have time to gather data, does that involve the survey that you talked about? Okay.
So that would mean both of these items would come back sometime in the fall.
There's a date here, actually, November 25th.
Oh.
For presentation.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
the idea being, we'll try and gather what data we can, so that when it's time for the board to approve the holiday closures for the following year, you can also approve the operational hours for 25 at the same time.
Good. Am I good?
Yes.
Any further discussion? Then
Do we have to approve more the summer hours for this branch then?
I think we just, oh, for this.
No, it goes status quo unless the board decides to change.
Okay, but I don't think we voted on the summer hours earlier when we brought them to the table.
No, so the board years ago made a motion about what the operational hours are,
Oh,
and that just stays in place until the board decides to
until we
change.
change it. Okay,
Right, so the last one would have been when we came out of COVID, where the board set the operational hours at that point.
okay.
And so since we moved out of COVID, those are the operational summer hours. When the board, so it's not brought to the board. Just as needed.
we're good. Both of those items will be back in November. Excuse me. Strategic plan and progress report. The next item in your packet.
I guess my first question is, do you like this better than the last one?
Yeah, that's good.
Yes.
Did somebody else? Any comments on the report on the strategic plan?
Not started, but
It
we got a
doesn't.
big backlog.
Well, I've struggled with it because it doesn't tell me anything. I don't know. It's a report card of how many you did and how many it didn't hurt to be done, and but I don't really have any meat here. And the strategic plan is on front of us all the time. So,
One of the things I was thinking is that we would regularly post a PDF version of the updated action plan to the Google Drive so that you guys can go in and
I
see
thought we
which
were going to do that, so we can kind of go in and see
Yeah.
what's, yeah.
it's there, but not an updated version. And what we have to do, because we've actually just redone the whole action plan document.
Mhm.
So we've separated out community engagement idea and all of those.
Yeah.
So the document itself looks very different. We just recently updated it so that it also pre-populates these data tables.
Oh.
Okay.
So it's a completely different document than what's currently on there.
Mm,
And what we plan on doing is taking the new document and making it accessible to you guys on a monthly basis, so that you can go in and see what the actual items are. But rather than print out the entire report every month, because that's a lot of paper.
but then how about a high level view of what's been accomplished, like to just grab the community engagement or action in progress. And so many have been not started, in progress. I don't see the strategic plan here.
I don't mind the buckets because it does show where we're sort of, so you could see, maybe we're focusing too much right now on marketing, but we haven't done anything in
Well-
heritage and culture, that's okay to look at this, anyway, but I agree with what
Okay.
you're saying, like, in terms.
I thought about,
Yeah, if you compare them to each other, you could see, like, maybe we need to start working on an idea. Our inclusivity and diversity section, because
Oh, yeah.
there's a lot of not started there, hardly any started. Where, as opposed to some of the other ones where there's been quite a bit of progress made on some of the other, so it does show you where some of the weaknesses lie.
that makes sense, so thanks for that. Lisa.
Mhm.
And we're gonna put times on this, right? So like when we do this update like monthly or whatever, because right now it doesn't tell me how long any of this progress has been done in. So I want to know like in the last month how many we've completed and started. As well as like to date, but
Yeah,
So, and this is the first time we've graphed it too, so what we can try to do is do a comparative graph. And so you can compare one to the other and see it, and then, you wanted a more in-depth annual report as well of this, so by the year's end or the beginning of next year, we would have a big report with the graphs and lots of explanation, so you could see. But right now, you can just presume with these graphs, this is the progress that's been made since the beginning of the plan.
right. And you said that these are updating from the spreadsheet and you're gonna make that available to us?
Yes,
Okay.
we
Yeah,
haven't done that. Yeah,
Yeah,
Sorry,
I'm
Kevin?
interested. I'm interested to just to see it and just sit with it for a minute. So yeah, whenever that comes out.
that would work, I like your, and like I'm starting to visualize what it's gonna look like for us. Is it, the board is comfortable with an annual report with detail? What does that mean? What have we really done? And that's what the board. Whatever they, with that, that's good.
because the reports that are doing last few times, I'm still doing that, like, there's still a notes field now in that new document that will record what was done, so that you can see that the objective has been tackled. It's just, do you want to see that at every meeting, or can I just place it somewhere where you guys can view it actively?
Like,
I would like to see it on Google Drive when I come.
I think that's what Kevin is getting
yeah,
at as well.
yeah.
Does that satisfy the board? Like,
Yeah.
nodding says,
So I have one question. To be honest, expected to see the ongoing numbers much higher, and like about 25% of the chart.
Oh,
And I'm not seeing that, and I remember when we did our training, the consultant said, 25% is of your action plan is things you're already doing, and 25% is a Hail Mary, and 25% might be new. And so I kind of thought when these categories came up that the ongoing would be higher.
I think if you looked at it as a year total, it'll be 25%. But
But if it's
we're only 3
ongoing,
months.
isn't it ongoing now all the time?
Well, some of these cultural events, like Overs and Beyond, is an annual event, and it happened.
Right,
So yes,
Okay.
it's something that we have been doing in the past, but we
Oh, and you're
haven't
repeating it.
done it.
oh, I
yet
see, okay,
In this cycle of the strategic plan. So things that we always do are going to be bumping these up each
So
month.
those are probably more like in the not started because they haven't approved yet.
So Culture Days hasn't happened yet, and there's
yeah,
objectives specifically related to Culture Days. And so once we hit that in September, then that'll move from
That'll
not
be-
started
yeah.
to in progress or ongoing.
so I hate to ask, what's the difference between in progress and ongoing?
In progress is a project that has not concluded yet. Ongoing is an objective where we've done it, but we will probably be
Repeat.
continuing to do it in the future.
Oh, I see.
One of the
okay.
other things, Matthew, that I might like to see for some of those ongoing ones is like some numbers behind them. So like maybe we set some targets. So just, just to pull one out, we have community engagement, and one of our action items is to be an active member of Lash, or to engage chamber conference events. So maybe we set a target like, we do 5 per year or something, and then we have something to base our progress on. Just an idea, just to pick a couple really important ones, set some targets, and then evaluate us based on our targets. Just an idea. I don't know what they would be. I'd have to really dig into this to kind of, pick some of them, but
Yeah.
that
So
would
right
be an
now-
interesting one to do during board development, though.
Yeah, right now with the, like, say, the attending the Chamber of Commerce events, right now I'm just listing whenever we do it. And then you would see after a year that we attended 4 of the Chamber of Commerce events. And that's why it would be ongoing, because the Chamber of Commerce continuously offers these events. We didn't set any targets like that when we set up the action plan. But I mean, we could probably do a post.
Yeah, I don't know. It's
Well,
just an idea. Just, think about it if you can find a way to work that in there. I just think it would be a great way to say, here's what the library is trying to do and here's our progress.
Yeah. Okay.
And some of them may lend themselves more easily to that, right? Like, create more volunteer opportunities. Well, here's the opportunities we've created, and our target was this many. I don't know, just an idea.
Yeah,
And that way, then your staff have targets too, right?
it's true.
So is this report useful to the board in its current format? Do you want to see this on a monthly basis? I think we've established and heard from Matthew that we're gonna get an annual review to make sure that we're progressing, get more specific targets and progress over the year. Does this report, does the board still want this report in it as it is, or is there something else we'd like to see? Or my whole goal was to make sure we don't lose sight of the strategic plan.
Yeah, I would definitely like to see this, especially if it's like something where you can automate the numbers. Maybe set up one area where it all feeds in there, and then we just kind of get some highlights every month. But I think it's great to bring this to the board every month.
Thanks, John.
Yeah, this report is easy to generate as it is right now, because as soon as I update one of the action items in the report, it automatically changes these charts. So that's easy, so long as we are staff is keeping up with updating the actual plan as we do items. And I think it helps keep us going.
Yes,
Yeah, it helps everybody. I think it would help staff too. It helps keep them on track. It keeps them updating it, keeps us updated. It keeps everybody accountable.
Other comments? So we'll look at a revise or an updated next month as well, but no, not next month. Our next board meeting.
May, I'll have another one. So, would you like to see, would you like to see March compared to May, or just see May?
could you include, keep the May in and then add March, keep the March in and then add May, like just.
Yeah.
You don't have to. So
Like-
both in there.
Kevin?
I definitely would like to know what the delta is. So like if you could work that in somehow, whether that's just by giving us like a percent change or just including both of them. Either way,
I could also, instead of putting another chart in, just write a statement saying what the differences are.
yeah, right on the graph, you know, you could just note what the changes are from last time. Whatever you can make work.
I'll
But yeah.
speak to Katrin about this too, because she's the one who set up the data charts and everything on there, so. see what
But I
she
think
has.
it's more helpful to me anyway, to see the change over time. So like
Yeah.
one way or the other, I need something to compare it with, because otherwise, like I have to go back and manually look.
Our work. This is, the strategic plan is the bulk of what we're doing here. And so I want to keep focusing on it and having these discussions and where we're at, identifying that we didn't waste our time and that it's being, that we're moving. Right? I think that's what you're hearing from the board as well. It's a work in progress. We know that, and not everything will be perfect, but want to be part of the process. It's definitely governance, right? So we'll keep moving. Is that clear? Everybody good?
Yes.
Thanks for your input, Kevin. I don't need a motion, so we'll move on to new business.
Maybe a motion to accept it as information.
Okay. I need a motion to accept strategic plan progress update.
I'll make it, Wayne.
Thank you, Kevin. Second. Okay. Matthew or Mike, sorry. Any opposed? Motion is passed. Report is accepted. New business, Ontario Library Service. Jamie?
Oh, so there's in April, we need to appoint a member to the Ontario Library Service Board Assembly. And there are 9 population groups. And we're in the population group of 40,000 to 74,000. And the term runs from, well, there's a board assembly meeting on May the 7th. And I assume at that meeting, that board assembly will elect a member to be on the provincial board. So I brought this up before, my preference would not to be that representative. If anyone else on the board is interested in taking on that.
What happens if we don't have a representative?
Oh,
I know that.
I would continue on the board assembly, but I am not continuing on the Ontario Library Service provincial body. So, and I'm not even, that's not for me to decide. I won't even put my name forward for election at the May meeting, because I just, it's someone else will step up and do that. I know that because when I was elected, there were 3 people that wanted to do it. So I know somebody there will take it on. And I don't mind continuing, because the best thing about the board assembly they have, Ontario Library Service has a couple of virtual meetings, and the best part of it is a round table at the end of the meeting where everybody just throws out a topic and then other people jump in, and that's the best part of the whole thing. And I can continue to attend that without being the board assembly representative for this board. However, if anyone has an urgent desire to join this board or join the board assembly, Wayne, stop laughing. Wayne, for example, he'd be perfect for this. But yeah, so I would continue. The problem actually that you have identified the problem are library boards that do not appoint members to the board assembly.
Well, what does it look when we're looking at there? Or
A couple
virtual
meetings a
meetings?
year, 2.
2 virtual meetings a year.
Yeah,
The provincial body never meets in
and the
person.
provincial body meets in June and October, so I will attend the June meeting and hopefully in February.
But
Well,
you're looking for someone to do the provincial body, or
well, I'm looking for somebody to do the population group that our board is in. So when I joined this, I'm learning, right? So when I joined, there are about 23 public libraries that fall within that population group. And but the meeting consistently only has about 14 people attending. So there's a lot of boards that don't appoint members to the board assembly, and I don't understand that either, that whether they're having trouble recruiting or they just don't bother. Or the CEO doesn't bring it up.
So if someone wants to apply, what do they do, contact
They
you?
tell Matthew,
They tell Matthew?
yeah, and then Matthew submits their name. Right, Matthew?
Sure.
I mean, that doesn't somebody contact you and ask you who you're appointing to the,
They may, I haven't received.
And then there's an election.
well, and then at the May meeting, May 7th at 5:30, that board assembly will meet, and that group will elect their member that goes to the provincial assembly. And the provincial group meets in June. They have their annual general meeting in June. So the June meeting will include the outgoing board and the incoming board.
Okay.
Hopefully that meeting is in Sudbury. They had a meeting last October. No, they had a meeting in June, actually, that I chose not to go to for a variety of reasons. And I was able to attend that by Zoom, so I didn't miss the meeting, but I didn't attend. So it is fun. It's a really fun group of people, and the Zoom meetings make it easy.
So I got involved with Opal, I didn't know what I was getting into. And basically went from there.
Well, and when I started, when I joined the provincial board, OLS North and Souls were combining the government had forced the administrative merger, and so I was worried about losing OLS North as an agency. And over the past 4 years, I've lost that anxiety that we're okay, because there are so many libraries in the north.
Mhm.
You know, we fill all of these population groups, and that voice is still heard. So that was my concern.
I think one of our fears was that we would just be ignored by Southern Ontario, which
No.
never actually ended up happening because a lot of leadership isn't Sudbury.
Well, the leadership, the lady resigned. The Southern Souls CEO was due to retire anyway, and yeah, Stephen, Melissa, and yeah, they've had cutbacks and they're struggling, but the Northern Ontario part of it is alive and well, and then there's the First Nations group as well, a component to that whole thing.
So if I can, if you're interested, call Matthew.
Let Matthew know.
So unless there's any question. Number 15.1 board development meeting, April 29th.
Unless I say otherwise.
Number 16 is adjournment, unless there's any other business anyone has. Pretty efficient. 46, meeting that is, you want a motion?
Sure.
I want to just declare motion, the meeting is adjourned.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Paulo.
Yeah.